أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Amini Swedi and you're listening to the Murid Talks podcast. Right, welcome back to another solo episode of the podcast. And this is a bit of a different format. It has been a while since we've recorded an episode. This time around, I'll be recording from my car. I'm currently on the move, heading to an event, and I'm thinking of calling this particular series The Insights. And in today's insight, I wish to talk a little bit about seeing God. So the title of our episode will be Seeing God. What do we mean when we utter the term seeing God? Different traditions have different understandings of what that means. It could mean visually seeing God. The Christians would say that the apostles and the people of the milieu of Jesus saw God incarnate. In the Hindu tradition, there is the concept of the avatars, who we cannot directly connect it to the concept of incarnation per se, but they are, in a sense, a divine representative on earth. In a sense, they are divine. So when Krishna and Arjuna are having a discussion in the battlefield, Arjuna is having a discussion with the divine. So in a sense, Arjuna is seeing God. But there is also this sense within the Islamic tradition, the question, a lingering question, of whether or not we will see God in the day of judgment. There have been two camps. Some say God will reveal himself, and others utter that we cannot see God. But in the Quran, Moses requests to see God. Of course, there is an unfolding drama with this particular request. So when Moses requests to see God, God tells him to look up towards the mountains, and if they remain stable, that he shall see God. But what happens when Moses looks at the mountains? Well, they crumble. They break down in submission and servitude. And Moses also collapses. Now again, here there's two camps. There's the camp that says, well, Moses did see God. And there's another camp that says, no, Moses didn't see God. So which camp is right? We can't say for sure. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Nevertheless, taking a little bit from the Islamic tradition again, there is a verse in the Quran, and we've mentioned this verse a couple of times in our podcast, where the Quran tells us that both the East and the West belong to God. And whithersoever we turn, there is the face of God. And this is where this particular insight comes from. As I was driving one day, and I was thinking about dreams. That's another topic that we'll talk about in the near future. I was specifically thinking about seeing God in dreams, or the vision of God in dreams. But then a particular question arose in my mind. Aren't I already seeing God? Why do I need this special occasion, this special vision, the vision of God? If whithersoever I turn there is the face of God, aren't I already seeing God? And the question, of course, what does it mean to see God? Going back a couple of episodes, we did talk about the concept of consciousness. And that in the Hindu tradition, Brahman, the ultimate reality, is addressed as Sat Chit Ananda. Sat being, Chit consciousness, Ananda infinite bliss, unending bliss. And so when we say that Brahman, the ultimate reality, is consciousness, what we're basically saying is that ultimate being is not inert. It is awareness, pure and simple. It's not aware as something superimposed upon it, but it is awareness itself. The seeing, the observing, the knowing of all things. That is the ultimate reality. And so whatever appears within consciousness, appears within the ultimate, to borrow a word from the human condition, the ultimate mind, if you want to put it in that sense. So all is within mind, or the mind, with a capital M. So this, of course, breaks the illusion of materialism, that there is this material world, and then consciousness is simply a byproduct or an emergent property within the material world. No, this is quite different. It says that there is only mind, and whatever appears in mind. So the waking world, what we observe and experience in our waking reality, our dream space, our deep sleep, all appear within consciousness. There is only consciousness. Now, in that sense, if there is only consciousness, there can only be consciousness experiencing consciousness. So the self-realization, the self-experience of consciousness in various modalities, various forms. So in that sense, whatever I am seeing, going back to the concept of seeing God, is consciousness. I'm not seeing anything other than consciousness. So in this particular sense, there is no need to see God because I'm already seeing God. This need of seeing this extraordinary vision and identifying that as divine, albeit being an amazing thing, and it does happen, these extraordinary experiences, but even in the mundane, we do see God, because again, there is nothing other than consciousness and the self-realization within consciousness. And connecting this, of course, to the Islamic tradition with La ilaha illallah, what we mean by that is there is no God but God. But again, we can transpose that with any other name of God and say La haqqun illa al-haqq. There is no truth but the truth. La hayyun illa al-hayy. There is no living but the living. So what I mean by this is, as seekers, it is our task to train ourselves to form the discipline. There is no vision but the vision of God, with whether it be my own body, my own thoughts, my own reality. And again, here, my own, I mean this limited form of amini, or it be of any other. What I am seeing, what I am realizing, what I am experiencing is the divine. And I'll end this episode with a quote from a hadith. Prophet is asked by Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, what is ihsan? Ma huwa al-ihsan? And the Prophet replies, ihsan here means, the literal meaning will be goodness or perfection. So the Prophet replies, al-ihsan an ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tarahu. It is to worship God as if you see Him. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. The general basic translation is, if you do not see Him, He sees you. So it is to worship God as if you see Him, and if you do not see Him, He sees you. But Ibn Arabi says, again playing with the Arabic language, because why not? He says, it is to worship God as if you see Him. And if you are not, so he takes this فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ and pauses فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ. And if you are not, if you cease to exist, if you annihilate this egoic presence, that there is a me versus other, tarahu, you will see Him. Because only pure consciousness realizes pure consciousness. And this egoic consciousness only sees in isolation, in separation. So فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ, for He sees you. So God's vision is your vision. But only if and only if, you annihilate yourself, your ego. Right. I'd like to end here, my dear friends. It has been a beautiful exploration. Until next time, persevere in the vision of God. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.